Thank you for joining us for our Park City Market Talk webinar for August 2016. I'm Ron Wilstein, a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties here in Park City.
And I'm Dean DeLeon, a buyer specialist on the Wilstein team at Keller Williams here in Park City.
And we have a lot to cover. Here's our topics. We reported last month on Vail, and we'll give you an update on this. They were seeking to trademark Park City for their company as well. We'll give you an update on that.
And Vail makes a new acquisition, surprises a lot of us, but definitely a big acquisition that we'll be discussing.
Yep. And then, of course, we'll give you an update on what has been happening with the Park City real estate market in terms of number of sales and prices.
And we'll give you the key to success in selling your property as far as pricing it correctly.
That's right. There's one key element that we don't talk about that often, and we're going to share with you today. And it's tax time. We always hate that, but it's time to take a quick look at your tax notice, see if you're entitled to an appeal, and so we'll give you the details on that. Last month we reported that Vail Resorts was seeking to trademark Park City for their resort, and of course that created a lot of interest and anxiety among the community.
Vail Resorts recently applied for a trademark of the Park City name, and this was done, according to them, to protect the name from other ski resorts registering it or other ski resorts calling themselves Park City.
Mm-hmm.
Vail Resorts argued that the people, when referring to Park City Ski Resort or Mountain Resort, would simply say Park City, so it makes sense for them to make that claim.
But the business owners and others didn't feel that way. They felt that Vail was simply trying to take more control over Park City following their purchase of the resort. The community was concerned if Vail Resorts was granted this trademark, they might try to limit or prevent other local businesses from using Park City in their names. And there are many that do use Park City in their names. And so this was a big concern for local business owners. Here's just a couple of pictures we took of examples of Park City being used in people's names or real estate in town. So it's definitely a valid concern.
And then going back to that point, Vail did argue that they were only going to restrict the use of their name on ski industry related businesses, but also refused to put that in their trademark application. So therefore, just take other businesses, say a local restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
or a local bike shop, so on and so forth, would have to go at their word for not using the Park City trademark, and that just wasn't enough to satisfy the community, in which we had a big town hall meeting where
Mm-hmm.
Vail showed up, Mayor Jack Thomas showed up, former Mayor Dana Williams showed up, who's very passionate on the subject. I spoke with him the weekend before this personally, and he was fired up because the community of Park City has been around for a long time, and we're proud of being from Park City, and it's not something that we wanted Vail to take over our name.
This was a great victory for Vail to have withdrawn their trademark application. You know, people are very concerned about Vail taking over the community that they love, and while Vail Resorts has certainly invested heavily into the Park City Mountain Resort, $50 million worth, that's heavily. They've made many improvements, but there still remains concern by local residents who do not want to be controlled by a big corporation. So let's move on and discuss the Park City real estate market. Over the past 12 months, there's been 1,295 sales, and this consists of homes, condominiums, and vacant land, and that is down about 10% or 146 sales from the 12-month period beforehand.
This first graph is going to illustrate the year-to-year comparison of closed sales from August 2015 till July 2016 of all homes, condos, and lots in Park City. We saw a decrease of 12% from 547 to 481 home sales, a decrease of 8% in condos from 700 to 641, and another decrease in lot sales from 11% from 194 to 173 sales over the past year.
So definitely a decline, in part caused by a lack of inventory, just not what we saw previously, but there's some other issues involved here that we're going to discuss as well. Here we're looking at homes. and we've broken it down here into Park City as well as the Snyderville Basin. And in the Park City area, 190 sales the previous year, depicted by the silver bar, and we're down 24% or 144 in the last 12-month period. Smaller decline, 6% in the Snyderville Basin, from 357 sales to 337 sales.
And this graph here is representing the condo sales in Park City and Snyderville Basin. We saw a 28% decrease in the Park City area from 394 to 283. And in Snyderville Basin, we saw an increase, up 17%, from 306 sales to 358, which is still attributed to all the new construction that we had out there last year.
That's right. There were more choices available to people, and they bought. And everyone always seems to like new properties, so they have the latest, greatest bells and whistles, and they have a lot of appeal for today's buyers. This graph here takes a look at vacant land lot sales. Park City city limits dropped from 36 to 25. It's a 3% decrease. That's 12 months worth of lot sales, so very few sales in the city limits. You have to take that into account. In the Snyderville Basin, dropped slightly from 158 to 153, just down by 5, but statistically it's 6% decrease. And this graph here shows us the rate of sales. This is time of sale typically, and we're again comparing the previous year to this year, down from 111 to 107 days on the market. And that's positive, because when you have short days on the market, there's good demand. If a property is priced correctly, it's going to sell quickly. Now let's take a look at prices. Well, everybody wants to know what's happening to my property values.
So this graph will represent the year-to-year comparison of median home sold prices, again from August 2015 till July 2016. In Park City, we saw an increase in median home price of 15%, from $1,330,000 to $1,532,500. In the Snyderville Basin, we saw a 12% increase, double digits in both areas, from $855,000 to $958,000.
Boy, look at that. In the Snyderville Basin, we are almost at $1 million for medium sold price. That's really something. This graph here looks at condominiums. In Park City, they've increased in value by 13%, with the median price climbing from $557,000 up to $629,500. Snyderville Basin, nice 10% increase from $385,000 to $425,000. So our prices keep going up, very strong. Good to invest in real estate.
And here, again, we're looking at median prices on lots sold. In the Park City area, we had a 20% increase from $555,000 to $667,000. And as Ron mentioned before, that's a small sampling, but still indicative of the low inventory that we have. And then the Snyderville Basin went from $329,750 to $414,750, which was a 26% increase.
So let's turn our attention to key to correctly pricing your property. We talk about this periodically, but we, as you can tell from the earlier graph, we like to look at the median sold prices. And sometimes we're asked, well, what does that really mean to my property? Because my property is special. Everybody's property is special. Mine's special, so is medium really a helpful figure? Well, it's really quite revealing. We want to talk about absorption rate. And absorption rate is how we look at the past. We go back a year, we look at what has sold and the rate of sales, and based upon that history, we look at the actual number of properties on the market, either in a neighborhood or in Park City area or Snyderville Basin, and we, based upon rate of past sales, calculate the absorption of the current inventory, and so we get an idea how long it would take for the current inventory to sell. The National Association of Realtors says that a balanced market, balance between number of buyers and sellers, is about a 6-month inventory. In resort areas like Park City, a balanced market is usually a 9-month inventory. Well, take a look at this. We reported that the median home sold price within the Park City city limits is $1,532,500. If you look at how long it takes for properties that are priced at the medium sold price or below to sell, it's 4 months. If you price your property higher than the medium sold price, whether or not it legitimately deserves to be priced in that category, it goes to 17.4. That's almost months. That's almost a year and a half. So there's a huge impact in terms of how fast you'll sell, whether you're above or below that medium sold price. This graph here does a similar thing. Now we're looking at homes in the Snyderville Basin. We said that the median price was $958,000. Again, if you're priced up to or below that $958,000, absorption rate's about 4 months. That's a very strong marketplace. You're likely to sell your property pretty quickly. But you're in with a lot of competition if you go above that $958,000 figure over a year to sell. So this is why it's significant to look at medium sold price. Again, you've always got to evaluate what your property is truly worth, but you can't ignore this. It's pretty significant. Well, let's turn our attention back to Vail news. We took a little intermission there. You can tell us about Whistler Blackcomb.
Yeah, Vail recently announced that they are acquiring Whistler Blackcomb, which is the largest ski resort in North America, with over 8,100 skiable acres. And this came as a pretty big surprise. Yeah,
my legs are burning. That's just too much.
This came as a pretty big surprise to most of us here in the area. Didn't know too much about it, and then it hit. But it adds a great ski resort to the Epic Pass at the same time, which is pretty fantastic.
We're going to talk about that. Whistler, if you're not familiar with it, is located north of Vancouver, British Columbia, and really they have the two mountains, Whistler and Blackcomb, and together that's over 200 runs and a lot of terrain. I know Dean, he reported a couple of months ago when we were doing our webinar that he systematically woke up to ski the entire mountain of Park City now that it's been merged with canyons. And he did it, but he barely did it. And his legs...
It was exhausting. It was a long day.
It was a long day.
To say the least.
I'm not even going to try that. But this is pretty exciting news. Billion with a B. 1.06 billion was the price tag. As Dean reported, 8,171 skiable acres. The expected closing date of the sale is in the fall. It's pending government approvals. We're not anticipating there'll be a problem. But that does add Whistler Blackcomb to the Epic Pass, Vail's Epic Pass. However, since the expected takeover of the property isn't until right before the ski season, the Epic Pass is not going to be available for Whistler for this season. It will be the next season, 2017-18. But still very, very exciting. That Epic Pass just became more epic, as if that's even possible. But one pass, you can buy it in Park City, you can buy it at any of Vail Resorts, and it is good at all of Vail Resorts, and in a year from now at Whistler Blackcomb. So, and you can go to Australia, you can ski outside the country. It's just amazing. Might want to consider getting that pass. Anyway,
you can look like Ron over there, arcing out some big turns.
That's me. It even has my name there on the pass.
That's good style.
It's now time for us to turn our attention to the final topic, taxes. And nobody wants to talk about taxes, but it's that time of year again. And we want to look to see if we can help you cut your taxes. And you may be entitled to a reduction. So I want to give you a couple details as you property owners take a look at your tax notice. This is typically what a Summit County tax notice looks like. We're going to look at it a little more closely. You want to begin by realizing, first of all, that we've seen these tax notices come out. We've talked to a lot of owners, and we have seen anything from property values staying the same from the previous year, 2015, to increasing more than double over last year's valuation. So quite a range. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they are automatically wrong, that it doubled or someone saw a 100% increase. It may mean, and often does mean, that the previous valuation lagged so much behind that they could actually increase it by 2 times and it'd still be behind. But you don't know that until you take a close look at your form. So let's take a look at that. You do need to look closely at it. You may have the right to appeal your assigned value if it's too high. We do have a website that specifically is dedicated to tax appeals. You can get there by going to BuyParkCity.com. But here's the application form, and here's what you want to focus on. Property type. Is your property properly assigned? You have three different property types that Summit County will assign to a property. Either a primary improved property, usually a primary residence or a rental property, or it could be a non-primary improved property, which means a second home or maybe a rental property on a nightly basis, or it could be non-primary land. So those are the three categories. So first of all, take a look at that, decide if it matches correctly to your property. Land is obvious, but when you look at primary improved property, that applies to either it's your primary residence or you own the property and you have someone renting it long-term as their primary residence. And what I mean by long-term, they need to have been in there from at least January 1st of 2016 or longer to the present time to qualify. If it says non-primary improved property, that is a rental property. It could be a second home or it's a nightly rental. Those are the points of differentiation you want to keep in mind. But if you're wrongly taxed, or classified I should say, you may be paying 45% more taxes than you should. So this is a big thing to look at. You can always call us if you have any questions on that. This is the form that Summit County utilizes in order to get your taxes adjusted, either if it's wrongly classified or wrongly valued, and we'll talk about that a little more in a moment. Go to ParkCityTaxAppeals.com. The forms required for an appeal are on our website there. So let's now take a look at property value. This is a different portion of the form, and it will show you, first of all, in this center column, last year's market value. This is what Summit County assigned to your property last year. You look to the right of that, you see this year's value that they've assigned. Maybe it's gone down, maybe it's the same, probably has gone up. That's where you want to see the point of differentiation. Then you take a look lower down on the form and you're going to see a couple of columns. They'll start by showing you what you paid last year in taxes. Then if there's no change in taxes, what you'll pay this year. And if they get their budget approved, what impact that will have. So it gives you an idea of what your taxes likely will be for 2016. Again, you got to go back up to this year's market value to decide if this seems to be right. Now do keep in mind this is the value as of January 1st, 2016. It's not the value in August or in September. You got to go back there, and so you're really looking at comparable sales in 2015 to establish that value. You have until September 15th, 2016 to appeal your taxes. So check that out. If you're in doubt, send us your tax appeal notice. We'll let you know whether it's valid to consider an appeal or not. We do have a program that offers 100% risk-free tax appeal service, and the way it works is if we don't save you any money on your taxes, even though there's an initial application fee of $189, it's fully refunded to you. We're not interested in receiving any money from you if we can't save you taxes. So there's an application fee and there's a success fee if we are successful at reducing your taxes, but we don't collect anything, we don't charge anything, and we fully return any money if we've done the work and we don't save you any money in doing so. Let me just show you that website real quickly here. Here it is, ParkCityTaxAppeals.com. If you have questions, there's frequently answered questions. There's actually a webinar on there that goes into greater detail than what we've summarized, and tells you about the 100% rebate, our guarantee. So if that's of interest to you, check it out. If you want to deal with your own taxes on your own, feel free to do that. You're certainly able to do so. We're here for you. Try to help you in any way that we can, so don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-535-0151 or send me an email. We'll look at your tax situation. Also, we always want to show you how you can learn what your property is worth today. Again, that's not tax appeal January 1st value, it's today's value. And the easiest way is you go to our website and viewparkcityrealestate.com, scroll down from that main page to the learn what your property is worth, and you can complete that section. This is viewparkcityrealestate.com, and what you do is you scroll down past the Start Your Park City search, go past the webinar and some of our listed properties to this section, learn what your property is worth. You simply fill in the blanks. This would take you less than a minute to do. Put in your address or your condo name and unit number. Pull down menus, choose whether it's a home, a condo, or whatever. Select the other pull down choices. Then go to your name, first name, last name, and your email address. If you want to receive our newsletters and other publications, include your other address information. And then when you come to this section here, I'm interested in additional information. Choose this first one. Contact me now for a free property value assessment. We'll contact you, arrange a time to see the property, give it to you. No cost, no obligation. You can just be curious. You don't have to be thinking about selling your property. That's how you get it. Choose any of these other items if they're of interest and click the green submit form button, and that's enough. We will contact you and help you out with the valuation of your property. It's just that easy. Got any questions? Email Dean.
Yeah, email us, dean@wilsteinteam.com.
Or Ron at thewilsteinteam.com. I want to thank you for watching our webinar. We appreciate it. We update it every single month around the 15th, so the next update will be September 15th. Always wanting to give you information about Park City's real estate market. So with that in mind, we're going to step aside, show you a couple things as we wrap up on the screen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.